Okay, this is 456 Edgewater. I'm sorry, 456, what's it called? Summer in Beverly, which is right near Edgewater. You just heard behind me, or behind you, in front of me, the light rail. There's a light rail line runs right behind. It's actually very quiet. You may or may not have heard it. Anyway, this is an 1848 build. It's actually in really good shape for an 1848 home. It is an 1848 home, though, which you have to understand as we go through. And I'll walk you through the inside, and then we'll continue to the outside of the house. Really quiet street, awesome neighborhood. It's got actually two fireplaces in it. One is a pass-through gas in front of me, and then there's another one over here in the family room. It does not have central air. It actually has a window unit over here, wall unit over here. They're probably sufficient to cool the downstairs. The electric, as you'll see later, has been upgraded, so it is sufficient to cool the entire house. The pool table is for sale. It would not accompany the house. It is hot water. It's gas-fired hot water radiators. You'll see them throughout the house. Now, down here you got a completely redone kitchen with, again, the pass-through gas fireplace, which is really neat. There is a half bath down here, tucked off to the side. And then a really cool, just call it porch, sun porch out here. Is really neat. Out back, there's a detached two-car garage, which could be a good workshop. And then there's another little storage building off to the side. I didn't put my head in there because it's a little low to the ground and I'm fairly tall. But this is really neat, actually, from the standpoint of what it is. It's pretty neat. I'll show you the dining room, and then we'll go down in the basement. The dining room is really cool. I love this floor. Could stand probably a refinishing at some point, but it's got a lot of character to it, which is cool. Now, the windows. It's an 1848 house. The windows are original. There is some damage to a few of the glass panes. You'd want to have a home inspection and request repairs to that. They do have storm windows on most of them. I see one, at least one where they're missing. You're going to want those storm windows on there for draft protection because it does get, they're old windows. They're not designed as effectively as modern ones. Lowish ceilings down here. It's typical of the time and when it was built, but I'm not feeling like I need to duck, which is also a good thing. We'll head on down to the basement. This is where the washer and dryer are at. Now, I mentioned I didn't feel like I had to duck. Now down here I have to duck. My head does hit the ceiling here, but you've got a gas-fired boiler. It's a Weil McLean. They're pretty good. Last a long time. Not sure if the age of it, a home inspector can ascertain that better than I would. But you do have a gas-fired water heater that was installed in 2014. 15-year lifespan on these things. You got a lot of life left on it, which is great. There's a decent amount of storage down here. There's actually, let me turn on my light here because the light bulb is out of it. Oops. Bear with me a second. There's a cool little closet in here. It's probably 5 foot by 6 foot, 5 by 7. It's probably a 5 by 7 closet in here, so 35 square foot storage area. You got a side entrance out to the yard and 200 amp service coming in. The 200 amp service is important because there's no central air. If you wanted to upgrade the cooling, you already have plenty of room in the box and the electrical to handle it, which is great. You do have the cast iron pipes still running out the back here for part of it, but the prior homeowner did update some of the piping so it would continue to operate properly. Generally looks in pretty good shape. I don't see anything that makes me go, hey, termites are hard at work here, but you should get a termite inspection anyway. You will be required to actually have one for the VA home loan. The upstairs is kind of neat. So we'll go back through the kitchen. And just a reminder, you can tilt and pan and rewind and do lots of neat things with this 360-degree view here. So I would call this the master. Okay. In the master, you've got radiator heat, window unit, some really cool detail work on the wall behind you, which is neat, and then this really cool closet. Okay. I'm not sure what the story here if the doors was as neat, but I do want to point out you can get a good idea of what's underneath this replacement floor. Should you ever decide to go down to the original floor, it's the pumpkin pine, which you see in a lot of homes of this age. So this is really cool, and I think what they did is they put cedar planks in here at some point to make it into a cedar closet. But it is lit. Step up, there's a little minor step up here into a kind of dated Jack and Jill type, not kind of dated, it is dated, Jack and Jill bathroom. This, I think, is the only replacement window in the entire house. The upside, the roof is in really good shape. It's relatively new. I'm going to say it's under 5 years. However, the bathroom, as you can see, is not. And you've got some damage, to the tiles here and there. So you'd probably end up redoing the tile work. Access to the attic is through this pop-up panel above my head. There's a really large hall wall closet out here. Different flooring than you saw in the master. And yet another flooring style in the second bed. Again, radiator heat. And another good-sized closet. Oh, you do have replacement window in the front here. This is somewhat newer. There's a mix of different windows throughout this house. We were in the Jack and Jill before. This is the cork room. There's no overhead lighting here, but you do have cork walls in case you're looking for a place with cork walls. You got it. This window is an updated one, but not completely modern. And over here you have another cedar closet, which is super. Most of the windows do have storm windows, which is good. And then to the back you have a fourth bedroom here. I'd call this an office. There's not much living space here. You could use it for storage or what have you. And I'm pretty sure that's what they did before because there's a clothing rack here. But for an 1848 house, it's actually laid out pretty intelligently. A lot of useful living space. I think for you two guys, you wouldn't feel overly cramped. And the big thing is going to be, what do you do with all the craft stuff? And so we're going to go check that out right now. This, with a little heat added to it, because it is not heated, could be a decent crafting area. You got 200 amp service in, which would be good. Now, from the standpoint of a VA loan, I don't see anything that's really concerning here. There's a few, touch-up paint things the seller would have to do, but not a lot. You do have a great parking situation back here. So if you decide not to park in the garage, a lot of people don't park in the garage, you're then afforded a really useful 2-car garage with, I'm not going to go up there because they have stuff in the way, but with a walk-up loft. I'll poke you up top there so you can get a good idea of what's going on. So that's really cool. Unfortunately, as I look up, I have a feeling there's probably some damage on the flooring up above because there's a great vent along the top, but there should be some roof covering up there. So I have a feeling you can get water in there. You'd want to address that. We can go up back here, and you'll see that we do have a pool with some sort of pump running in it. Pools, they're generally, as is. You assume there's something wrong with it. But all things considered, not a bad backyard. Like I mentioned, to the rear, like right beyond that fence is where the light rail is. It wasn't very loud when the train came through before. I'm kind of lingering out here hoping that it continues, or another one passes by. really cool homes in the neighborhood. You can see this one directly in front of me. Just a ton of character here. So what I'll do after this is I'm going to drive you around the neighborhood as well. I'm going to stick you through the roof. You're not going to be able to hear me. You'll hear a lot of noise, but it is a really, really neat. It's a really neat way, a really neat neighborhood. I like it around here. So we're done with the home tour. I'll take you through the neighborhood tour next.